The drama begins in a courtroom, where a criminal named Sang-soo is standing. A little while earlier, this man had murdered a small child's mom in front of him, and that too in such a merciless way that even the one watching would shudder. The judge says Sang-soo is mentally ill, that he didn't do anything intentionally, and that he had also tried to settle with the victim's family. Just after hearing this, he is sentenced to only 3.5 years for such a huge crime. This sentence was nothing. Jung is also sitting in the courtroom whose mom had been murdered. While leaving, Sang-soo looks at him once and walks out mocking him, as if it made no difference to him at all. In a flashback, it is shown how he had killed Jung's mom. He kept striking her until she died. This moment gets etched into Jung's mind forever. Now the story jumps straight to 12 years later. Sang-soo has just been released from jail, and on his very first day, he starts beating up a bus driver so mercilessly, just because the driver had once filed a complaint against him with the police. He also smashes the camera there and threatens the people sitting in the bus before leaving. Outside, a boy wearing a hoodie is standing who silently starts following him. Sang-soo stops and asks, "Who are you?" To this, the boy answers by listing out his entire criminal history, 18 crimes, and yet he's walking around as if nothing happened. Sang-soo laughs, says the law itself gave him this very punishment. A fight breaks out between the two. But this boy slams Sang-soo to the ground within seconds, and that's where it ends for him. This boy is none other than Jong, who has now grown up. In the next scene, we're shown the police academy, where Jong is training to become a police officer. He's very good at judo karate, and his fighting skills are excellent too. On the way home, his friends ask him to come to the club over the weekend. But Jong makes an excuse and says he just sleeps on weekends. On the way, he meets a lady whose belongings fall. Jong quietly helps her, as he always does. On reaching home, he turns on the TV. The news is talking about a criminal named Kim. This man had attacked a stranger. The victim tells the camera through tears, "Kim had broken into my house, and the person who tried to save her, Kim beat him so badly that it will take 6 months for him to recover." Even then, Kim received no punishment, and even his arrest warrant was rejected. Jong pulls up all the details of this case on his laptop. On the other side, Kim is standing outside a girl's house along with his friend, harassing her. Just then, it suddenly goes dark there, and someone grabs them from behind. The girl can't see anything, but she understands that someone has saved her life. The next day, Jong reads about a doctor's case. This doctor used to drug his patients unconscious and sexually assault them, and would also record videos of it. And the law had given him a sentence of only 6 months. His license wasn't even canceled, and now he has started practicing again. That night, the doctor is once again alone in his clinic with his next patient. But before he can do anything, Jong walks in. He knocks the doctor unconscious with the very same injection the doctor used on others. Then he breaks his hand and says, "You're a doctor, right? Quit the job now." And he smashes the camera there before leaving. A few days later, in the office of a broadcasting company, Miss Choi places a file in front of her manager and says, "I have researched all these cases. In all of these cases, the criminals received light sentences and someone is giving them their real punishment." When the manager asks, Miss Choi tells him the name of the story, Vigilant. Miss Choi's article gets published and goes viral overnight. Jong also reads the same headline on his phone and secretly feels happy that the whole world now sees him as a hero. In the office, Miss Choi was confident that something would happen this weekend too. But the days pass and nothing happens. Finally, she herself tells her manager a plan. If the Vigilant isn't doing anything on his own, then let's give him a new case ourselves. She broadcasts about the old Seo-yeon case, in which the criminal had committed a horrific crime against a student, and even after that, he had gotten out of jail in just 7 years. She broadcasts his name, address, everything. The next day, media arrives outside his house. On the other side, Jong is watching the same news. At night, Jong breaks into the academy's server to search for that criminal's file, when his senior suddenly appears behind him and asks him the reason for being there so late at night. Jong immediately makes up an excuse. Meanwhile, the criminal, Yong, waits for the crowd to disperse. Then he sneaks out of the house. Miss Choi follows him from a distance, but after one turn, he suddenly disappears. When officers search Yong's house, they find a fake passport, and he had broken his ankle tracker. Everyone searches for him at the port so that he can't flee the country. But Miss Choi looks at the map and realizes Yong isn't running away. He's going to Seo-yeon's house to kill her. Meanwhile, in the next scene, an officer standing outside Seo-yeon's house comes across a man wearing a helmet. Suspicious, he asks him to remove the helmet, and once everything looks normal, he lets him go. As soon as he goes inside, that same man pulls out a knife and attacks the officer, throwing acid on his face. Seo-yeon tries to run, but Yong grabs her and throws her down, saying, "Everything got ruined because of you. I should have killed you back then." Just then, Jong arrives and throws him down the stairs. Yong tries to throw acid on him, but Jong breaks his hand and beats him so badly that he starts begging. Jong says, "If you want to live, write an apology letter." Miss Choi passes by in her car right at that time. Jong comes in front of her car, but she can't recognize him. Reaching the building, she realizes the Vigilant had come here and has already finished his work and left. Meanwhile, Jong walks off listening to music. He thinks to himself, our law has a lot of voids and loopholes. I will fill them. This is justice. Meanwhile, Yong is already dead, having written on the wall in his own blood, Seo Yun, I'm sorry. The next morning, news breaks. Yong has been murdered. At the police station, an officer puts forward a theory. This murder wasn't done to save the victim. It was pre-planned. If he wanted to help secretly, why would he write it on the wall? We should treat this like a murder case. The news of Yong's murder breaks immediately. The senior officer flares up at his junior. I had already said no one should go near the crime scene. So, how did this get into the news? Meanwhile, detectives reach the crime scene, but they don't find a single clue. The officers conclude that the Vigilant knows how the police investigate. Just then, a girl shouts from behind, why are you all turning the Vigilant into a murderer? He saved a girl's life. He should be getting a reward. Meanwhile, there was tension in the air at the broadcasting office. The manager was getting worried looking at criticism messages. On social media, people were venting anger, everyone blaming the company for glorifying murder. But there was no worry visible on Miss Choi's face. She believed that the more criticism there was, the more viral the story would go, and the higher the company's ratings would climb. After that, she picks 3 new criminals and broadcasts about them so that the Vigilant can make them his next targets. On the other side, at the academy, Jiang's friends are discussing this very matter. One believes the Vigilant must be some psychopath, deliberately provoking the police. The other thinks the Vigilant is like a leader, exactly like Jiang. Jiang keeps quietly listening to their conversation. That evening, 3 new criminal stories are shown on TV. One man had broken into his ex-employer's house and killed his wife and both children and later called it a mistake without any remorse. Hearing this, Jiang gets angry. In the dark of night, he breaks into his senior's office and starts pulling this criminal's details from the database. He finds out that this criminal once used to work at a convenience store and had brutally murdered the family of the very owner of that store. When he opens the man's social media, he finds out the man is casually enjoying a party. In response to people's angry comments, he was threatening that if anyone said this to his face, they'd meet the same fate. Reading this, Jiang notes down the club's address. Then this time, when his friends invite him clubbing, Jiang doesn't refuse. As soon as he reaches the club, he spots his target. Just then, a girl grabs his hand and takes him along with her. She offers him a drink, but Jiang's attention stays fixed only on his target. The criminal's friend asks him how he got out so easily. He explains that they had already planned it. He had brought along his minor friend who told the police he had committed the murder. Because he was a minor, he too got out quickly and there was no evidence against him anyway. And according to the law, unless there's evidence, no one is proven guilty. The law is truly amazing. Saying this, both of them start laughing. Just then, the girl takes Jiang outside and asks why he was staring at that man. Jiang makes an excuse, saying he was just checking whether it was the same man he'd seen on TV. The girl says, I know exactly why you were looking at him. Then she takes out a packet of drugs from her pocket and says, this is what you were staring for, isn't it? And while kissing him, she feeds him the drugs. In the next moment, Jiang's mind starts spinning, and he loses track of his target. Later, Jiang looks at the murdered lady's social media account. Her 2 children were singing a cute little song in a video. Seeing this, Jiang feels sad and starts crying, because that criminal had murdered those innocent children too. Now, Jiang checks all the drug transactions at the club in the database. That criminal was involved in these too. From the next day, he starts following him, reaching an old house where the criminal kept all his money and drugs in a locker. A little while later, as soon as the criminal reaches the parking lot, he finds a letter there that says, turn yourself in, along with a number. Scared, he calls his friend and asks him to find out the details of the number. A little later, his friend calls back and tells him this number belongs to some agent in Busan. As soon as the criminal reaches the club, the police show up there. Scared, he runs from there. Then, on reaching home, he finds the door of his house already open and the locker empty. Just then, Jiang calls out to him from behind, looking for this packet, and pours petrol over all the money and drugs and burns it. The criminal tries to stop him, but Jiang knocks him down with a single punch. Furious, the criminal attacks him, but Jiang beats him badly and ties a chain around his neck. The criminal starts begging him, and Jiang shows him the video of those children and tells him to apologize to them. The next morning, the police track his location and reach the crime scene. They find the criminal's body there, tied up with the chain. After this, at a press conference, the commissioner says, the Vigilant will be caught soon. Hearing this, the public gets furious, starting to question, the Vigilant is delivering justice, so why is the police trying to catch him? At the police agency, officers notice the crime rate has dropped quite a bit this month, all because of fear of the Vigilant. Just then, a senior officer tells them that the regional unit is taking over this case, and its leader, Jo Yoon, is a very dangerous man. Then we see Jo Yoon go straight to the criminal's friend, snatching his coin and starting to ask him about the criminal, but when he doesn't say anything, Jo-yoon bends the coin with his bare hand to scare him, and then dangles him off the building. Finally scared, the man tells him that the criminal had given him the Busan agent's number to find out more. Then Officer Jo-yoon calls someone and says, no matter who the Vigilant is, he'll be caught soon, and the public will forget him. In the next scene, a driver is sitting in his car when 3 people surround him and say, you've caused an accident before and now you have the nerve to drive drunk again? All 3 of them beat him together. These were copycat vigilantes. A total of 18 such cases had happened by now. In the news, everyone was blaming the original Vigilant for this. Jong is watching this news too. His friend says, this isn't the Vigilant's fault, it's the media's. To which Jong replies, if the system had done right by the victims, none of this would be happening in the first place. At the police station, while discussing the case, an officer says that the Vigilant even destroyed the dash cam and left no clue behind. And these days, criminals fear the Vigilant, not jail. Jong researches a new case, getting a delivery man's CCTV footage. In it, a truck driver hits a victim with his truck, the driver comes to check if he's alive or not, then deliberately drives the truck over him again. And for this, the driver had only received a 1-year sentence. Just then, his friend suddenly walks into the office and asks, what are you doing here so late at night? Jong makes up an excuse, saying he couldn't sleep, so he's organizing his senior's files. After this, he starts following the driver. The victim's mom confronts the truck driver, but the driver yells at her and shoves her. Jong watches this from a distance. In the next scene, the driver is relaxing in a swimming pool when a masked man starts drowning him in the water. The next day, news comes on TV that the truck driver is dead. During the investigation, Jo-yoon and his team find out the murderer used a jammer, which disabled all the cameras on its own. Meanwhile, at the broadcasting station, Miss Choi is furious because some other company broadcast this news before her. She hadn't even revealed the next criminals' names yet. Meanwhile, the other broadcasting company is broadcasting about 3 more criminals. One lady who had killed her husband for the insurance money. Just then, the same masked man arrives to kill this lady. In the next scene, Jong's friend tells him that the Vigilant has sent a video message to the broadcasting station. Jong immediately rushes there. In the video, the masked man says, being a Vigilant is a crime. It shakes the foundation of the law. But here it's a matter of empathy, so this will never stop. Being a Vigilant is necessary for whoever the law wrongs. Jong immediately catches on. Boy, the man said we, not I, meaning it's not just one person, there are many. At the crime scene, the officer confirms the same thing. The target pattern is completely different. This cannot be the original Vigilant. The manager yells at Miss Choi about how the video ended up with the other company. Miss Choi says this wasn't the Vigilant at all, then suggests organizing a special debate so they themselves become the real messengers. In the debate, Miss Choi says, we should protect victims and good people, not criminals. Crime doesn't just destroy the victim, it destroys their family too, especially the children who lose their guardians. The problem isn't the media or the Vigilant, it's the law, and that's exactly why vigilantes are born. In the next scene, a car driver is forcibly yelling at an old woman to move out of the way. The lady can't move her cart out of the way quickly enough, and the reckless man hits her with his car without stopping. A man witnesses all this and comes to help the lady, yelling at the driver. But the driver instead starts beating him. However, this man's fighting skills are amazing, and he beats up the driver instead. The police arrive and take the attacker away and start taking this man away too, on which the man protests, he hit me first. But the police scold him too and take him to the station. The next day, news comes about the lady's accident. In the news, Jong realizes this was the same lady who always used to give him toffee. Along with that, he also finds out that the man who tried to help the lady is the one the police arrested, while the actual murderer is comfortably receiving treatment in the hospital. Then the murderer's brother comes to the lady's house and yells at her husband, you people are ruining my brother's life. If you're doing all this for money, I can give you money. But no sound comes from inside because the lady's husband is lying sick inside. This old lady was working hard day and night to pay for her husband's treatment. Just then, Jong arrives there and starts beating up the brother. Miss Choi finds out the murderer is now in the hospital, so she decides to closely monitor the hospital too. Meanwhile, a police officer who is guarding the car driver in the hospital gets an urgent call and is called downstairs. At that very moment, Jong sneaks in disguised as a doctor and starts beating the murderer. He tells him, if you want to stay alive, go in front of the judge and say you want the maximum sentence. Otherwise, once you're out of jail, I'll come again, and next time, you'll get an even worse punishment. When the officer reaches downstairs, everyone realizes it was a trap. Upstairs, Jo-yoon becomes suspicious of a doctor when the murderer starts screaming that someone attacked him. Jo-yoon immediately rushes to him. The driver says it was too dark and he couldn't see the man's face. Jo-yoon realizes the doctor was the Vigilant. Jong takes off his doctor disguise and leaves. He had already disabled all the CCTV. He gets out of there before Jo-yoon can catch him. The car driver receives a box containing a phone, and on its screen is the same photo of his brother. the one Jong had beaten. Just then, a masked man suddenly hits him from behind. As soon as Jong steps outside, he hears the sound of the driver falling from above. The masked man had thrown the car driver off the building. This means there's a second vigilante too. Jong sees the man coming down using a harness and trying to run away with a car. Jong jumps into the moving car. "Who are you?" Jong asks. The man smiles and says, "You didn't even say hello, straight to asking who I am? Nice to meet you, Jong." Both of them smile. This new man tells Jong not to worry about the CCTV, that he's already removed everything, deleted the old footage too. He wasn't captured anywhere. Jong asks who he is, to which the masked man answers that he's been waiting for this moment for a long time, that he's a huge fan of Jong's, and that he's the person Jong needs. He offers to work together, but Jong starts attacking him. While fighting, the man says, "The police are already after you, Jong. That's exactly why we should work together. We'd make a perfect team." Jong doesn't listen to a word of it, and instead keeps beating him, saying, "What I do isn't called hunting. I try to deliver justice. You've ruined everything." Then he asks the masked man what his rules are and why he killed the driver. To this, the masked man answers that he has no rules, that driver deserved it. The fight continues, and finally the man ends up hanging off the building. Jeong tells him, "Stay away from me." The man says, "Now's the perfect time you could take off my mask. Don't you want to know who I am?" Jeong, showing no interest, says he doesn't care who he is, just that he shouldn't get in his way, and walks off from there. Meanwhile, the car driver's brother is yelling at his employees that someone has taken his brother's life, and no one knows who killed him. Just then, Detective Jo Yoon arrives there and asks about the case. The car driver's brother starts yelling at him, to which Jo Yoon tells him to calm down and walks away from there. A man named Jo Gang arrives at the broadcasting company. He meets Miss Choi and tells her, "You were the one who first gave the Vigilant his name. I'm very impressed with your work. People are feeling safe because of you." He offers his support, but Miss Choi refuses. He laughs and says he knows Miss Choi has recorded the Vigilant on her camera and asks her for the recording. She refuses again. Then the owner of the broadcasting company says the recording doesn't belong to Miss Choi, it belongs to the station, and Jo Gang is their biggest sponsor. If he wants that recording, we have to give it to him. Miss Choi disagrees with this. Jo Gang tells Miss Choi privately that he really likes the Vigilant, and that together they'll promote him, and he leaves, taking the pen drive with him. Jo Yoon finds out that the method used to erase all traces is exactly like the Vigilance. Nothing was captured on CCTV, and after killing the murderer, he came down using a harness. An officer expresses suspicion that this might be a police officer. Jo Yoon says, "I hope it's not a cop," and takes all the data straight to Jung's police academy. There, Jung's friends notice the injury on his face and ask what happened. Just then, Jo Yoon walks by from the same direction, right in front of Jung, but he doesn't recognize him. But Jung recognizes him. This is the same man he met at the hospital. Jo Yoon takes the data and goes to the professor, telling him he's been studying the vigilance pattern. He asks whether other people come here too. The professor says students keep coming for help. Jo Yoon asks for their photos, to which the professor refuses to give out the trainees' personal information. Meanwhile, Miss Choi is searching the internet for pro-vigilant companies, and she finds out about a company called Seoul Future Resources, where there was a man named Sam who had faced murder charges, but was released due to lack of evidence. Jo Yoon goes to a restaurant to check the CCTV footage, but finds out someone else had come to check the same footage the day before. Hearing this, Jo Yoon's anger explodes, and he goes straight to the car driver's brother, beating up everyone there and asking, "What did you find in the CCTV?" But he gets nothing from there. Meanwhile, at the training center, the professor is taking attendance, and seeing the injury on Jeong's face, he asks the reason. Jeong makes an excuse, saying he got hurt during training. The professor asks him again, but just then, some police officers come to meet Jeong, along with a girl. The girl says, "Last night, Jeong saved me from a thug." Hearing this, the professor asks Jeong why he didn't tell the truth earlier, to which Jeong replies, "I'm about to become a police officer soon. Getting into a fight with a civilian could cause problems. Violence is violence, no matter how you look at it." Jo Gang himself had sent this girl there. He knew people might get suspicious because of the injury on Jeong's face. In the next scene, Jo Gang's assistant tells him the pen drive has a video of Jeong in it, but because of the darkness, his face isn't clearly visible. Jeong remembers the masked man had offered to work together, so he calls him for a meeting, and that man turns out to be none other than Jo Gang himself, who had been walking around as the second vigilante. Meanwhile, Miss Choi is investigating Seoul Future Resources, and during this, she meets a man who tells her the company does important game development work, but in reality, they run a huge gambling site, and there are rumors of drug distribution too. Miss Choi asks about Sam, to which the man says he's an animal and he takes the life of whoever comes in his path. This man was also a journalist and was investigating this case himself, but due to pressure, he had to drop it, so he asks Miss Choi for help. And in this connection, he was about to meet an actor who had important information. Meanwhile, Sam is holding two men captive. One had testified against him in court, and the other had run off with all his drugs. Both of them beg Sam for their lives, but Sam orders them to be thrown in front of the pigs. The pigs eat them alive. Meanwhile, Miss Choi reaches the actor's house along with the journalist. Going inside, they find out the actor has committed suicide. Miss Choi says, "This can't be suicide. He was about to meet us, and he changed the location at the last moment to call us to his house. Why would he take his own life?" But the police don't listen to her. Jong is going to meet Jo Gang, and on the way he runs into the same girl who had saved him earlier. And while leaving from there, Jo Yoon suddenly comes up to Jong and says, "I'm investigating the Vigilant. You're a cop, so you'd be interested in this too." Jong says he's writing a report on the Vigilant. Jo Yoon asks how he'll write that report. Jong replies, "Objectively, because the Vigilant doesn't consider himself a criminal." Impressed, Jo Yoon says Jong is right. "From now on, I won't try to catch the Vigilant. Instead, I'll put an end to all the crimes happening." He gives him a warning and leaves from there. Jo Gang watches them from a distance. In a flashback, it's revealed the professor had earlier asked Jo Yoon what he would do if the Vigilant got caught. Jo Yoon had said, "If the Vigilant turns out to be good-looking, handsome, and young, the public will go wild." So the plan was to make a fake list of possible vigilants, pick out the absolute worst person from it, frame him for all the crimes, and show the public that their hero was actually a loser. This is the best way to end vigilantism. Then Jong gets a call from Jo Gang, who asks what he and Jo Yoon talked about yesterday, since he'd seen the two of them together. But Jong doesn't tell him anything. Jo Gang says he needs Jong. Jo Yoon is their biggest enemy, and the two of them should work together. But Jong tells him, "You're the only one who knows I'm the Vigilant. That's exactly why I suspect the two of you are working together." Jo Gang had cloned his phone. That's why Jong tells him, "If you want to meet, clone Jo Yoon's phone and bring it to me," to which Jo Gang agrees. Meanwhile, Miss Choi reaches Sam's factory along with a reporter. Inside, they find a big server room where illegal activities are going on. Just then, a man comes up behind them with a knife and attacks the reporter. Miss Choi takes the chance and drives off in her car. A little later, she comes back with the police, but the entire server room has been changed by then. Miss Choi shows her recording to the police and says, "There used to be a server room here." Meanwhile, Jong gets a message from Jo Gang with a locker address in it. As soon as he reaches there, he finds a phone. This phone was cloned from Jo Yoon's phone and sent by Jo Gang. Just then, news comes about the actor. The news says that before dying, he had called a reporter to meet him and had messaged that he had important information against Seoul Future Resources, that they run an illegal gambling website. The video of the server room that Miss Choi had recorded is also shown. The owner of the broadcasting company yells at the manager about why they broadcast all this. The manager then yells at Miss Choi, saying the reporter lost his life because of her. Miss Choi replies directly, "You always take bribes? That's why you're saying all this? And you're the one teaching me what kind of reporter I am?" Meanwhile, the same man is burning the reporter's body. And on the other side, a thug follows Miss Choi and kidnaps her, but Jo Yoon arrives there and saves Miss Choi, giving her a warning before arresting the thug. During questioning, the thug reveals that Sam had sent him to kill Miss Choi. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sam's men are cutting up and disposing of a lot of bodies. Jo Yoon arrives there and warns them to listen to him, but they attack him instead, and Jo Yoon starts beating all of them by himself. Jo Yoon is physically very strong, and he defeats all of them alone. Just then, the rest of the police arrived there too. There were a lot of pigs there, eating human bodies. Sam used to feed the bodies of everyone he murdered to the pigs. All of this gets broadcast in the news. A reporter says Sam and his men are the real vigilantes. Jo Yoon had deliberately leaked this false news. Seeing this, the commissioner yells furiously at Jo Yoon, scolding him for doing all this without permission. "Do you have any proof?" But Jo Yoon refuses to answer, saying he's confident. Sam, too, is very confused. He can't understand why Jo Yoon is so determined to frame him as the Vigilant. He suspects Jo Yoon is working with Miss Choi. After this, while following one of Sam's men, Jong reaches a bookstore. From outside, this store looks completely normal, but inside there's a secret room where girls are kidnapped and brought. Jong goes inside and beats up the man badly. He finds a secret locker there with a file in it. Jong takes the file and leaves. The owner of the broadcasting company yells at both Miss Choi and the manager, "Either resign or write an apology on the bulletin board. This company has gotten a bad name because of this Vigilant." Miss Choi asks, "Don't you think they're the real vigilantes?" Just then, news comes on TV. A man has been murdered in the bookstore who was a drug offender with many sexual harassment cases against him. At the crime scene, the exact same thing is written that Jong wrote the very first time. Miss Choi realizes this is the real Vigilant. The news also makes it clear that Sam, who had been framed earlier, isn't the real Vigilant. Meanwhile, Sam finds out that one of his main men was killed in the bookstore, and his anger grows even more. Meanwhile, Jong is leaving after finishing his work when Jo Yoon suddenly starts following him. Jong starts running. Both of them run fast. Jong jumps off the corner of a bridge and runs. Finding a safe place with no CCTV, Jo Yoon gives him one last chance, offering to stop everything and work with him. To this, Jong replies, "The very first time I saw you, I understood you too have taken someone's life before, and you too handle illegal work on someone's orders." Both of them are exactly alike, and he rejects his offer. Then Jong asks him, "Have you ever been in the shoes of someone who's weak, who gets bullied, who gets wronged, and when a crime destroys someone's entire life, and even the law sides with the criminals, neglecting the victims?" Then he asks directly, "If someone destroyed another person's entire life and felt no remorse for it, and even after getting out of jail went on to commit the same crime again, what would you do?" Jo Yoon replies, "This is exactly your problem, Jong. Your confidence. You think you can never be wrong. People like you end up becoming monsters." Furious, Jong goes to attack him, but Jo Yoon turns out to be very strong and starts beating Jong very badly. He says Jong isn't a violent offender and he's a traitor, someone challenging the very law he claims to speak for. But if Jong changes his direction a little, he could become a really good police officer. Har! Jo Gang is watching this whole scene from above. Jo Yoon, choking Jong, offers again for him to work together with him. Jong, defending himself with great difficulty, says he doesn't care what the world thinks. It means nothing to him. "If I have to become the devil myself to kill the devil, I have no problem with that." He goes on to say he already knows the commissioner and Sam are working together and what they are trying to do. And he challenges Jo Yoon, "Prove that justice really exists. Only then will I follow you." Then the commissioner calls Jo Yoon and removes him straight from the Vigilant case. Then he meets Miss Choi's kidnapper. Upon asking, he finds out this man follows the orders of Sam's manager. Meanwhile, Jong is admitted to the hospital. Jo Gang had brought him here and is now sitting beside him. While Jong is sleeping, he takes a selfie with him. Just then, news plays on TV that Miss Choi has been removed from the Vigilant case. Seeing this, Jong messages Jo Gang to help Miss Choi so she can continue her reporting. Jo Gang gives her a new office. Jo Gang asks what the plan is going forward. Choi answers directly, "Whatever Sam has done so far, I will expose all of it. This will force government agencies to investigate." From that very day, she starts her reporting, publicly announcing, "During this investigation, I will never commit suicide. If I die in any way, know that it was not suicide, it was murder." Hearing this, the commissioner gets furious. Jo Yoon catches one of Sam's men again and asks for the manager's location. Meanwhile, Jong researches Sam and finds out he recently participated in a church event and donated 9 billion won there. In the next scene, a man from the church is on the phone with someone, talking about converting all the money into crypto coins and deleting all the records. He takes out a file and a pen drive from a locker when Jong arrives and attacks him. He keeps the pen drive with him because it contains all the details of the money given to Sam's church. But during this, someone from outside sees Jong and starts following him. This was actually Jo Gang. When caught, he again offers to work together. Jong tells him to take off his mask, to which Jo Gang removes it. Jong tells him the whole truth about the church, how the pastor there was collecting and managing money from Sam and the commissioner. He gives him the pen drive and tells him to get it to Miss Choi. A new officer, Yongal, comes to see the professor. He had been assigned to this after Jo Yoon was removed from the case. He asks the professor, "During the investigation, we found out that Jo Yoon had come to see you." The professor says he had asked about a case file. Yongal asks for details, and the professor tells him he should ask Jo Yoon about that himself. Just then, Jong arrives there. Yongal asks the professor just one question. "Did Jo Yoon ask for the students' photos?" The professor says yes, but I didn't give it to him because I can't give anyone's private information to anybody. A ceremony for the new officers is going on where the commissioner is lecturing everyone about not taking bribes, while he himself is the biggest corrupt man there. As soon as the churchman takes the file out and reaches the pastor asks him whether the records were deleted or not. The answer comes back yes. The pastor gives him a box full of phones, all with crypto data on them. Just then, Jong arrives and starts beating everyone up. The pastor runs upstairs, but Jong follows him there too and beats him badly. The pastor screams, "I'm a pastor of the church. Have you no fear of God?" Jong asks back, "Did God teach you to do all these wrong things?" and kills him. A little later, breaking news comes. The pastor is dead, and this too looks like the Vigilant's work. The commissioner tells Sam the next target will be one of the two of them. Sam stays calm and says he himself will kill both Miss Choi and the Vigilant. Meanwhile, Jo Gang shows Choi the same pen drive. Choi asks where he got it from and whether he knows who the Vigilant is. Jo Gang says he has his own internal team who found this pen drive. Choi starts broadcasting everything in the news. She's just about to make the file public when Jo Yoon arrives and stops her. He asks where she got the file from, and Choi refuses to say. Jo Yoon warns her, "The Vigilant is right around you and he's very dangerous." Choi, unafraid, replies that she's not scared of anyone, and she'll never stop helping the Vigilant. As soon as Jo Yoon steps outside, a man attacks him. That man turns out to be Sam's manager. A fight breaks out between the two, when another man comes and starts attacking Jo Yoon too. But Jo Yoon starts beating both of them and asks, who gave the order? Both of them say, what difference does it make? He's going to die anyway. Jo Yoon threatens them, if you don't die today, next time I'll take your lives myself. But because of the fight, his condition has become quite bad. Before the two of them could kill him, Jong arrives there. Both of them realize this is the Vigilant. They had seen Jong's face. Jo Yoon gets admitted to the hospital. It comes in the news that the one who saved Jo Yoon's life was none other than the Vigilant. Seeing this, Jo Gang calls Jong and says, this wasn't part of their plan. Jong replies, this was part of the plan. I'm going to turn Jo Yoon into a Vigilant. Meanwhile, Sam is yelling at his manager. He had sent him to kill Jo Yoon the previous night, and yet he survived. The manager retorts, my mood is already bad. Now I'll do whatever I want. And if you make me any angrier, I'll finish you off first. The director of Seoul Company comes to collect the crypto private keys when smoke starts rising from the next room. Jong arrives there and beats everyone up, taking all the keys with him. Later, he converts all the digital coins into real money and leaves it outside an orphanage. The next day, Miss Choi broadcasts all this in the news. This time, the Vigilant had written on the wall that all the coins would be sold and donated, and before that, Sam and the commissioner should surrender. Choi explains this wasn't a normal fire. It was the Vigilant's counterattack against Sam and the commissioner. But the police still make the excuse of not having evidence and don't investigate. The commissioner is pleased because the police are targeting the Vigilant, not Sam. They think Choi and the Vigilant are connected. Sam suddenly shows up at the commissioner's house and threatens him. If I get caught, you'll get caught too. To this, the commissioner tells him, just serve 6 months of your sentence and I'll get you out. But if you say anything about me, you'll rot in jail for the rest of your life. Hearing this, Sam's anger explodes, and he starts beating his own secretary. He orders him to kill Choi and says, find out where the Vigilant is. Meanwhile, at the orphanage, Sam's manager arrives and murders the lady Jong had given money to. The next day, the news reports how good this lady was, always thinking about the children. And outside the orphanage, the exact same thing the Vigilant used to write is found. The media calls it the work of a criminal organization taking out its anger on the Vigilant. Jong gets very disturbed. At night, he suddenly gets up and goes outside, but this time his friend notices. Going outside, he calls Jo Gang and says, these people are deliberately provoking me. Jo Gang asks what he'll do next, but Jong tells him to keep an eye on Choi. He's certain they'll come to kill her again. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sam's thugs arrive to kill Choi. Choi is watching her dashcam footage, the same old video in which the Vigilant kills for the first time, and Jong passes right in front of her car, but she can't recognize him, though now she's suspicious of him. Just then, she spots the thugs on CCTV, and taking the chance, she installs cameras in every corner and live streams the entire incident. The whole city starts watching her. The thugs find out she's live streaming and destroy all the cameras and capture Choi. Before they can kill her, Jo Gang arrives there and starts beating everyone with a bat. Choi is left shocked. A little later, the police arrive too. By then, everything looks normal, and Choi is sitting there calmly. Jong passes by from there and, seeing her safe, breathes a sigh of relief. Choi tells the officer she was already being regularly threatened, which is why she set up the cameras. A random person who was watching the live stream came and saved her life. They ask if it was the Vigilant. Choi denies it, saying she got hurt by a bat, and the Vigilant never uses any weapon. The next day, the professor is taking a class when Yonggal arrives. He's come to meet Jong and asks him where he was last night when Choi was attacked. Jong straight away refuses to say, telling him, this is my private life, and asks on what basis he's being treated like a suspect. Yonggal says Jong has already met Jo Yoon before, his physique matches the Vigilance, and the phone used for every crypto transfer was turned on once at this very university. The professor interjects, saying he won't let his student be treated like this until Jong is proven guilty. While leaving, another officer asks Yonggal if he's sure this is the Vigilant. Yonggal says, to sell crypto, you need a wallet on your phone, and that phone was turned on at this very university. Yonggal goes to meet Jo Yoon, who still hasn't regained consciousness. He tells him, no matter what happens, I will do my duty, and wants Jo Yoon to understand him. As soon as he leaves, Jo Yoon opens his eyes. He was only pretending to be unconscious. Jong tells Jo Gang he did a good thing saving Choi. Nothing would work without her. Jo Gang asks the reason. Jong replies that no one can report the climax of this story better than Choi. Just then, he gets a call from his friend. Yongal has reached the university with a search warrant. His friend asks if there will be any problem. Jong stays calm and reassures him everything is fine. An officer tells them the forensic report has come in. The phone was turned on from the president's office. The university's president is none other than the commissioner himself. This means Jong had pinned the entire blame on the commissioner. In reality, he had gone to the commissioner's office that day and turned the phone on there. And while searching, he had also found a burner phone that the commissioner used to talk to Sam, which is solid proof that the two of them are working together. Furious, the commissioner asks, "What are you doing here?" Yongal asks directly whether this phone belongs to him and says, if not, he's handing it over to forensics. The commissioner asks what he wants. Yongal says, "Give me time to investigate and confess." As soon as Yongal leaves, the commissioner calls someone and orders them to kill him. As soon as Yongal steps outside, a truck rams hard into his car. He dies on the spot. In the next scene, we see Jo Yoon has regained consciousness, and as soon as he wakes up, he starts exercising. Just then, he finds out Yongal has died. Jong finds out about this too. Meanwhile, Sam's manager kidnaps Choi and takes her away. Jo Yoon comes to meet Jong. Jong defends himself, saying he did nothing wrong. He just wanted Yongal to gather evidence against the commissioner. Furious, Jo Yoon starts beating him, reminding him he had already told him to stop. Jong says, "Yongal died because he was a good officer, and now I've decided I won't stop anymore." Jo Yoon warns him that they'll kill Jong first, and even if he dies, it won't matter to anyone. No one will even find out he was the Vigilant. Jong replies it doesn't matter to him. And if Jo Yoon wants me to stop right here, kill me now. And if you don't, I'll show you what justice really is. Jo Gang finds out Miss Choi has been missing for several days. Meanwhile, Sam's manager has already kidnapped and been torturing her, asking her where the Vigilant is. Choi says directly that she wants to know that herself. The manager accuses her of using the Vigilant to stir up the public. Choi, unafraid, tells him, "Kill me then." The manager is left stunned. He's never seen anyone this tough before. Searching and searching, Jo Gang reaches Choi's flat, but he doesn't find Miss Choi there. He immediately calls Jong and tells him everything. Meanwhile, in the next scene, Sam's men are counting cash when Jo Gang arrives there. Everyone thinks he's the Vigilant, and they all chase after him. As soon as they leave, Jong sneaks in. A man is on the phone telling Sam he's bringing all the money. Jong knocks him out and makes him read a message. The message reads, "Bring Miss Choi to the World Cup Stadium by 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, and you'll get the crypto wallet. If you don't, the entire wallet will be thrown into the river." Here it's revealed. It wasn't Sam who had Choi kidnapped, it was his manager. There had been a rivalry between Sam and the manager for a long time. Sam calls the manager and makes him an offer. He'll pay 3 times more than whatever the commissioner is paying him. In exchange, Miss Choi has to be handed over to him. But the manager says he knows the Vigilant has contacted Sam, but the offer isn't good enough. Sam raises the money further. The deal is fixed at 5 times the money. Sam says he'll get the wallet from the Vigilant himself, and after that, the manager can do whatever he wants with Choi and the Vigilant. Jong and Jo Gang already knew this entire plan. They knew Sam absolutely needs that wallet no matter what. Jong's friend is watching the two of them from a distance and comes up and asks what they've been up to these days. "You've even been missing classes. Don't you want to become a police officer anymore?" Meanwhile, Sam's manager tells Choi the Vigilant is coming to get her, and in exchange, he'll give him the crypto wallet. Hearing this, Choi starts laughing loudly. Sam heads out with all his men to kill the Vigilant. They search the cameras for the man in the black hoodie. First, they spot one man. Then they realize everyone there is wearing a black hoodie because there's an event happening today. Jong had deliberately called everyone here today. Jong's friend was in the crowd too. Sam's manager arrives there and says, the Vigilant is much smarter than he looks. In a flashback, it's revealed that Jo Gang had asked Jong for the plan. Jong had told him Sam would try to kill the commissioner and his manager because this is the only way he can survive. And it wasn't Sam who kidnapped Choi, it was his manager. As soon as the fight starts, Sam will be forced to come after them. A big concert is going on at the stadium. Choi spots Jong, and the manager recognizes him too. But caught up in trying to kill Jong, he starts attacking the crowd instead because everyone is in black hoodies. Getting the chance, Jong takes Choi and leaves. Meanwhile, Sam has figured everything out when Jo Gang arrives there. Sam asks who he is. Jo Gang answers he's the same devil who's been after him all these days. All of Sam's men arrive there. First, Jo Gang beats them, then makes all of them chase him. In a flashback, it's revealed that Jo Gang had asked whether he should kill everyone alone. Jong had told him, as soon as the fight starts, the commissioner will show up too, and Miss Choi will live stream all of it, so the world will find out the truth. Jong brings Choi to a place, gives her a phone, and tells her to live stream whatever happens. Then, chasing the thugs behind him, both of them start fighting. Sam's manager arrives there too. Choi is live streaming. Jo Yoon sees this and gets ready and heads there too, bringing along the two thugs with him. Jong is fighting alone when Sam's men arrive too. Jo Gang had brought them there, chasing them along. Sam orders everyone to be killed. Choi had already revealed in the stream that Sam is trying to kill the Vigilant. The commissioner finds out about everything too. Jong is fighting alone when Choi comes in front of him saying, "If the Vigilant dies, how will I get the wallet?" The thugs now go after Choi, but Jong comes and saves her. A heavy-set thug comes to kill Jo Gang, but the other thugs end up stabbing him instead because Jo Gang had used him as a shield. Just then, Jo Yoon arrives there, hitting the heavy-set thug hard with his car, and he announces that the police have arrived, and if they listen to him, he'll treat them like human beings. Sam's manager orders his men to kill Jo Yoon too. In this chaos, Sam gets the chance to come and kill Jong. Jong was already injured. Just then, another man steps in between, and Sam ends up stabbing him instead. When Jong looks at his face, this was his friend. Both of them ask each other what they're doing here. By then, the police have arrived too. Jong tells Choi to take his friend to the hospital. Choi asks him what he'll do now. His friend says he fully believes Jong is doing the right thing, no matter what he's doing. All the thugs start running, and Jong chases after Sam to catch him. Jo Gang also goes after them and closes the door, fighting the rest of the thugs alone. A fierce fight is going on between Sam and his manager when Jo Yoon arrives there too. By then, Jong has already beaten Sam badly. Suddenly, the main door closes. The commissioner, clapping his hands, tells them they can't get out of here alive. Sam happily promises he'll kill everyone with his own hands, but the commissioner shoots him instead. The commissioner tries to kill Jo Yoon and Jong too, but he runs out of bullets. He turns on a pump, and water starts filling the place. Jo Yoon and Jong go into the water because the commissioner is shooting from above. Inside the water, they search for an exit. They find a staircase. The commissioner keeps reloading bullets until Jong reaches him and beats him badly. Jo Yoon arrives too and talks about arresting the commissioner, accusing him of murdering Yonggal. Panicking, the commissioner makes an excuse. "The Vigilant is right in front of you. Kill him, and I'll reward you." Furious, Jong goes to kill the commissioner, but Jo Yoon calms him down, telling him to stop all this right here. Choi is going to report everything anyway, and the world will find out everything. Jo Yoon tells Jong that he'll prove it, that the law will finally do what's right, and that the commissioner will definitely get punished for what he's done. Just then, Sam's manager arrives there, demanding his money and attacking Jong. A gun is lying near the commissioner, and getting the chance, he shoots both Jong and Jo Yoon. Jo Yoon's anger explodes, and he beats the commissioner badly. Just then, the manager gets the chance and goes to attack Jo Yoon, but Jeong stabs him instead. Both of them are badly injured by now, the entire area has collapsed, and a lot of people have died. Then, in the next scene, an officer asks Miss Choi whether the Vigilant was a student at the National Police University. Choi says yes, but she gives the name of Jong's friend, saying, "This was the Vigilant." Jong's friend is dead. Jo Gang is still alive and regains consciousness at his house. As soon as he wakes up, he starts looking for Jong. His manager reassures him Jong is admitted to the hospital and all the CCTV footage has been deleted. But something unexpected has happened. Jo Gang turns on the TV. The news reports the Vigilant was none other than Jong's friend. Jo Gang realizes this was all Choi's doing. He says if that's the case, then he and Jong can join together and punish bad people again. They can start over. Jeong is watching the news on TV and feels very bad for his friend. His friend had saved his life but couldn't save himself. Choi asks Jo Yoon whether he thinks Jong will be able to accept all this. She tells him her dad was a civil servant who had been charged with corruption, because of which he had committed suicide. He had never done anything wrong, but no one stood by him and no reporter tried to find out the truth. That's exactly why, when the Vigilant appeared, she got excited and decided to bring out the truth together with him. Jong is watching the news. It's reported that Miss Choi has exposed everything, that the commissioner was working together with Sam. But something completely different is shown on TV, that the commissioner had tried to expose that criminal organization, and the chief secretary announces the deceased commissioner will be promoted. Even after everything that happened, the commissioner is being shown as a hero. It's reported that he helped expose Sam's organization. This means everything Jong did has gone to waste because the commissioner has become a hero in everyone's eyes. The current commissioner calls him a noble officer who fought criminals to his last breath. The Vigilant is being called a criminal, and it's also said that he sacrificed his life for justice. That's why all the corruption charges against him are being dropped. Watching all this, Jong gets very angry, and along with it, he laughs too. The very society he set out to change, the criminals he came to expose, that society itself doesn't want to change. And in all this, his friend lost his life too. In the next scene, a ceremony is going on for all the upcoming police officers where they're made to take an oath that they'll work according to the law like a public servant and protect this country at any cost. No matter what happens, they'll faithfully carry out their duty. And with this very scene, story comes to an end here.